What if I told you that the difference between an ordinary life and an extraordinary life is not talent, not luck, not education, and not even opportunity? What if the real difference is hidden inside your mind? The truth is that your brain is listening to every thought you repeat, every excuse you make, every fear you entertain, every limitation you accept. Day after day, your mind becomes whatever you train it to become. A genius is not someone who was born special. A genius is someone who learned how to think differently while everyone else continued thinking the same way. Today, you are about to discover how to force your brain to break free from average thinking, destroy mental limitations, and develop the mindset that creates extraordinary success. Because the moment your thinking changes, your entire life begins to change. Ladies and gentlemen, the human brain is one of the most powerful creations in existence. It has built civilizations, discovered cures, created technology, and transformed impossible dreams into reality. Yet most people spend their entire lives using only a fraction of its true potential. They allow fear to control their decisions. They allow failure to define their identity. They allow comfort to become their prison. But every great achiever in history understood one thing. Before you can change your world, you must first change your mind. Your brain is not fixed. It is adaptable. It is trainable. It is capable of becoming stronger, wiser, and more powerful every single day. The question is not whether you have the potential for greatness. The question is whether you are willing to train your mind to think like greatness. The most dangerous conversations in your life are not the ones you have with other people. The most dangerous conversations are the ones you have with yourself when nobody is watching. Every day, countless people wake up and immediately begin feeding their minds with limitations. They tell themselves they are not smart enough, not talented enough, not capable enough, not lucky enough. They repeat these thoughts so often that eventually they stop questioning them and start believing them as facts. The human brain does not always distinguish between truth and repetition. It absorbs whatever it hears most often. If every morning you tell yourself that success belongs to someone else, your mind begins searching for evidence to prove you right. If you tell yourself that you always fail, your brain starts focusing on every mistake while ignoring every achievement. The tragedy is not that people lack potential. The tragedy is that they spend years programming themselves for failure without even realizing it. Think about how carefully you protect your home from unwanted visitors. You lock your doors, you secure your windows, you decide who is allowed to enter your personal space. Yet many people leave the doors of their minds completely open. They allow criticism, fear, doubt, negativity, and insecurity to enter freely. One negative comment from a stranger can stay in their mind for years. One failure can become an identity. One rejection can become a permanent belief. But your mind was never designed to be a storage room for pain. It was designed to be a workshop where dreams are built and possibilities are created. Every thought you allow to stay inside your head is shaping the person you are becoming. That is why protecting your mental environment is one of the most important responsibilities you will ever have. The people who achieve extraordinary things are not immune to fear. They simply refuse to let fear become the loudest voice in the room. They understand that every thought is a seed. Plant enough seeds of confidence, and confidence begins to grow. Plant enough seeds of courage, and courage begins to grow. Plant enough seeds of possibility, and possibilities begin appearing everywhere. But if you constantly plant doubt, insecurity, and self-pity, you cannot expect a harvest of greatness. Your future is being shaped by the thoughts you entertain today. Every time you replace "I can't" with "I will learn," you are rewiring your mind. Every time you choose belief over fear, you are creating a stronger version of yourself. Your brain is always listening. It is listening when you speak confidently. It is listening when you criticize yourself. It is listening when you dream big. And it is listening when you settle for less. The words you repeatedly use become instructions, they become commands. They become the blueprint your mind follows. That is why you must become intentional about your inner dialogue. Speak to yourself as someone who is growing. Speak to yourself as someone who is capable of learning, improving, and overcoming. Stop giving your mind instructions that lead to limitation. Start giving it instructions that lead to transformation, because every powerful life begins with a powerful conversation taking place inside the mind. Train yourself to see possibilities instead of problems. Most people spend their lives staring at closed doors while completely ignoring the windows around them. They become so focused on obstacles that they lose the ability to recognize opportunities. A challenge appears, and immediately they begin listing reasons why something cannot be done. A setback arrives, and they assume the journey is over. But the people who change the world think differently. They understand that every difficulty carries a hidden lesson. Every obstacle contains a hidden opportunity, and every struggle has the power to develop strengths that comfort never could. The difference between ordinary thinking and genius thinking is not the absence of problems. The difference is the ability to see beyond them. Life will never present you with a path free from difficulties. There will be moments when your plans collapse. There will be moments when people disappoint you. There will be moments when circumstances seem unfair. During those moments, your mindset becomes your greatest weapon. Some people look at a storm and see destruction. Others look at the same storm and see a chance to learn how strong they truly are. Some people see failure and decide to quit. Others see failure and decide to grow. The event may be the same, but the interpretation changes everything. Your perspective has the power to transform your reality. The moment you begin searching for possibilities instead of problems, your entire experience of life begins to shift. Imagine standing in front of a mountain. One person sees an impossible barrier. Another person sees a challenge worth climbing. The mountain has not changed. The difference lies entirely in the way it is viewed. Every successful person you admire has faced mountains. They have encountered obstacles, criticism, rejection, and uncertainty. Yet they refuse to let those experiences define their future. They trained their minds to focus on solutions rather than excuses. They asked different questions. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" they asked, "What can this teach me?" Instead of asking, "Why can't I succeed?" they asked, "What do I need to learn to succeed?" Powerful questions create powerful answers. The mind becomes stronger when it is trained to search for opportunities even in difficult situations. Every challenge contains hidden potential waiting to be discovered. Every setback carries lessons that can shape future success. The people who rise above average circumstances are not the ones who experience fewer problems. They are the ones who refuse to become prisoners of those problems. They develop the habit of seeing possibilities where others see limitations, hope where others see despair, and opportunities where others see dead ends, because they understand that the future belongs to those who can imagine possibilities before they become reality. Make learning an obsession. One of the greatest myths in the world is the belief that education ends when school ends. Real growth begins when curiosity becomes a lifestyle. The most successful minds are not the ones that know everything. They are the ones that never stop learning. They remain students long after others become comfortable. They continue asking questions long after others stop searching for answers. The moment a person believes they know enough is the moment they begin falling behind. Growth is not a destination. It is a lifelong journey. Every new skill, every new lesson, and every new perspective expands the boundaries of what is possible. The world changes constantly. Industries evolve. Technology advances. Opportunities emerge. Challenges transform. Yet many people cling to outdated knowledge while expecting new results. They want different outcomes without developing different skills. They dream about a bigger future while refusing to become a bigger person. Learning is not simply about gathering information. It is about transforming yourself. Every book you read, Every lesson you study, every experience you embrace becomes a tool that can help build the future you desire. The more knowledge you acquire, the more options you create for yourself. Curiosity is one of the most powerful forces in human development. Curious people see the world differently. They do not settle for surface level understanding. They explore deeper. They ask why. They search for meaning. They challenge assumptions. They understand that every person they meet knows something they do not know. Every experience contains wisdom. Every challenge offers education. Learning becomes exciting when you stop viewing it as a requirement and start viewing it as an opportunity. The mind thrives when it is stretched beyond familiar boundaries. Growth begins at the edge of comfort. There is something extraordinary that happens when learning becomes an obsession. Confidence begins to replace insecurity. Possibility begins to replace limitation. The world becomes larger because your understanding becomes larger. Every skill you develop increases your value. Every lesson you learn strengthens your potential. Every day becomes an opportunity to evolve into someone wiser, stronger, and more capable than you were yesterday. The individuals who accomplish remarkable things are rarely the most naturally gifted. They are often the ones who remain committed to learning long after everyone else stopped. Force yourself to think bigger than your circumstances. Too many people allow their current circumstances to become permanent definitions of who they are. They look at their present situation and assume it predicts their future. They allow temporary struggles to convince them that lasting success is impossible. But history is filled with individuals who started with very little and achieved extraordinary things because they refused to let their circumstances determine their destiny. Your current reality may describe where you are today, but it does not decide where you can go tomorrow. Your vision must always be bigger than your present condition. When you only think as far as your circumstances allow, your growth becomes limited. You begin making decisions based on fear rather than possibility. You lower your expectations. You shrink your dreams. You settle for survival when you were created for much more. The human mind is powerful because it can imagine realities that do not yet exist. Every invention, every breakthrough, every achievement began as an idea inside someone's imagination. Before anything becomes visible in the world, it first becomes visible in the mind. That is why protecting your vision is so important. If you cannot see a greater future, you will never move toward one. There will be people who judge your dreams according to your current situation. They will look at where you are and assume they know where you belong. They will measure your future using today's limitations. But extraordinary achievements are never created by people who accept the limitations imposed by others. They are created by individuals who dare to imagine more. They choose faith over fear. They choose growth over comfort. They choose possibility over doubt. They understand that greatness requires the courage to believe in something larger than what currently exists. Your circumstances are chapters in your story, not the title of your story. Difficult seasons do not last forever. Hard times do not define your identity. Challenges do not determine your worth. What matters is your ability to keep your vision alive when everything around you suggests giving up. Continue thinking beyond what you can currently see. Continue believing beyond what you can currently prove. Continue dreaming beyond what others consider realistic, because every remarkable transformation begins when someone decides that their future will be bigger than their present reality. Discipline your mind every single day. People often wait for motivation to change their lives, but motivation is unpredictable. Some days it arrives, some days it disappears. If your success depends entirely on motivation, your progress will always be inconsistent. Discipline is different. Discipline continues moving forward even when emotions fluctuate. Discipline shows up when excitement fades. Discipline keeps working when results are not yet visible. The greatest achievements in life are rarely the result of occasional bursts of inspiration. They are the result of consistent actions repeated over long periods of time. A disciplined mind becomes powerful because it learns how to act regardless of circumstances. Every day, your mind is engaged in a battle between comfort and growth. Comfort whispers that tomorrow is a better day to start. Comfort encourages excuses. Comfort promotes delay. Growth demands action. Growth requires effort. Growth asks you to become stronger than your excuses. The direction of your life is determined by which voice you choose to follow most often. Every time you choose discipline over comfort, you strengthen your character. Every time you honor your commitments despite difficulty, you prove to yourself that you are capable of more than you imagined. Mental discipline is not built in extraordinary moments. It is built in ordinary moments. It is built when nobody is watching. It is built when you choose learning over distraction. It is built when you continue working despite feeling tired. It is built when you remain focused despite uncertainty. Small decisions repeated consistently create massive transformations over time. The strongest minds are not created overnight. They are developed through daily habits that gradually reshape thought patterns, beliefs, and behaviors. Success often looks dramatic from the outside, but it is usually the result of countless disciplined choices made behind the scenes. A disciplined mind becomes difficult to defeat because it no longer depends on perfect conditions. It learns how to create progress in imperfect circumstances. It learns how to remain focused during challenges. It learns how to continue growing despite setbacks. The more discipline you develop, the more control you gain over your future. Instead of being controlled by moods, fears, or distractions, you become guided by purpose and commitment. Over time, discipline transforms from something you practice into something you become. And that transformation changes everything around you. As your mind evolves into the powerful force it was always capable of becoming. In the end, remember, your brain is always listening, always learning, and always adapting to the instructions you give it. Feed it courage, and it will help you face challenges. Feed it purpose, and it will guide you toward meaningful action. Feed it growth, and it will discover opportunities hidden within every obstacle. Do not wait for the perfect moment, because the perfect moment is created by the decisions you make today. Think bigger than your circumstances. Learn more than is required. Believe more than seems reasonable. Discipline your mind when others surrender to comfort. The world changes when people dare to think differently, and your life changes when you dare to believe that your potential is far greater than your current reality. Starting today, force your brain to think like a genius, and watch as the person you are becoming begins to achieve things the person you used to be never thought possible.